When you replace or adjust your trigger, it's good to know what the trigger pull is. Sure, you could buy an expensive trigger pull gauge, but do you really need to? We're going to find out if you can use an inexpensive luggage scale instead. Alright, so this is an inexpensive portable electronic luggage scale that I bought, about 8 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago. And I bought it at a discount store. I don't remember if it was like a TJ Maxx or some sort of dollar discount store in Brooklyn when I lived there. But, I am fairly certain I bought this for about $6. It was really cheap. And in fact, you can still get it for about that much on Amazon. But they're super simple. It just runs on 2 AAA batteries here. It's got a built-in hook there, and you hook this onto your luggage. And you just hold on to the lanyard here, and well, first you have to turn it on, and then hook this onto your luggage, and you'll lift your luggage up, and when this indicator light stops blinking, that means that it's gotten a consistent weight. My finger is not all that consistent, but there you go. Measured 1.4 ounces there, and it stops blinking and locks in when it doesn't sense any change in the weight there. So it got me thinking though, could you potentially use this cheap luggage scale to measure trigger pull gauge as a trigger pull gauge for firearms? Now, I know people have used these similar portable electronic scales to measure weight of fish that they catch, to measure the draw pull on their bows if you're into archery. But I don't know if you could use this to measure your trigger pull on your firearm. So let's find out if you can. Because these, even if this thing, you can get this for under $10, this is a lot less expensive than, say, this Lyman digital trigger pull gauge, which retails roughly for about $60. So can you get away with using one of these? So first, let's find out how accurate this is. We'll use a known weight and see if this measures that known weight accurately. We're going to use this can of Diet Coke as our reference weight, and it weighs exactly 13.14 ounces. And the reason we're using a Coke is because they're pretty consistent whether you buy one in San Francisco or a Piggly Wiggly in Sarasota, Florida, or a bodega in New York City. So the question is, will this gauge measure 13.14 ounces when I weigh it? So we'll hook this to our paper clip here and gently lift up on our scale, and we're just going to wait until that indicator light stops blinking, and we gently set it down, and we read 13.7 ounces. Okay, not bad. It's pretty darn close. Let's try that again. We'll reset that, and we're going to lift up, and again we're going to wait until the indicator light stops blinking, gently set it down, and consistent. At least it measured 13.7. So let's try that one more time, and I'm going to take this off for a second here just to make sure that this is measuring cleanly, and I'm going to hit the tare or tear button to make sure that it zeroes out, and I'm going to try it one more time and see what we see. We'll just wait for that. There we go. And locked in a weight. And we get, again, 13.7. So this at least is consistent. Now, this is a fraction of 0.6 ounces or 0.5 ounces. That's really half an ounce away from the actual weight of this can. So that's not bad in terms of level of accuracy. A half an ounce difference isn't going to make a much difference to me. At least, that's my level of need for accuracy. Now, if you're a precision shooter and that half an ounce difference is going to make a difference to you, well, certainly don't consider this for accuracy, or at least gauge it that you know that the indicator is going to be half an ounce heavier than the actual weight. You can use that because at least this is consistent. Now, this is certainly not a scientific instrument. You're not going to be using this to align the James Webb Telescope or the Large Hadron Collider, but for the purposes of most shooters, you're going to be concerned more with whether or not it's a 2 or a 5 pound trigger than a 2 or a 5 ounce trigger. So anyway, the question remains, is it as easy to use? We know that it's almost as accurate, or at least as reasonably as accurate as the Lyman, the more expensive $50 trigger pull gauge. Can you use this to measure an actual trigger? So that remains to be seen. Let's go try it out. All right, so we have our cheapo luggage scale here, and we have our test bed, which is my Ruger Precision Rimfire rifle. Now this is a factory stock rifle. I haven't made any internal modifications or swap outs of any of the components internally. It comes from the factory set at 2.5 pounds, and it is designed to be user adjustable. The trigger, you can adjust it up to 5 pounds, which is closer or typical to a hunting rifle weight, or down to 2 pounds, which, if all things went well and I followed the instructions, I was able to get it down to 2 pounds. But that's the reason why we buy one of these, or we're going to try it with this. I was able to show that it was actually about just a hair over 2 pounds in terms of the trigger. Here, I'll show you. Before we get started, let's just check the safety condition of our firearm here. I'm going to remove our chamber flag so we know that the chamber is empty, and I'm just feeling in here in the mag well. That's empty too, so we know that our firearm is unloaded and safe, and we always practice safe gun handling here on this channel. So I'm going to just close the bolt here so we can engage the trigger, and it's off of manual safety. Now we have our cheapo portable electronic luggage scale here, and I'm just going to hit the tear button, or tara if you want to pronounce it more Latin, from the Latin tara. Anyway, and I've made a little extension arm here, and this has a hook here, and you usually use this for the luggage, and you can slip it over the trigger here, but it is uncomfortably close. It makes it a little awkward. So I'm just going to add this little extension arm that I made from a hanger, and you can MacGyver something yourself. So I'm just going to slip it onto the trigger, and I'm just going to give it a pull on the lanyard here, because I find that pulling it from the lanyard gives you a more accurate reading. Okay, so here's a problem right there. As I was pulling back, when it does engage, when the trigger does break, it's just not long enough of a time for the luggage scale to lock into a weight. So I have to look at the numbers indicated here and just note exactly the number that's displayed when this breaks. So this requires constant vigilance and monitoring. So let's just try that again. I saw like around 2 pounds, but I wasn't paying as much attention because I was just waiting for that light to stop blinking, like it is now. But of course, that isn't the weight that we're actually measuring. So let's just reset that and hit that tear button. All right, so let's just give this a gentle pull and note the number indicated, 2 pounds, looked like 2.35 pounds there when I heard that trigger break. So let's just get an average here. Let's just do that again and hit that tear button. All right, so let's just pull back. Okay, 2.18 is what I saw. And let's just try one more time for an average here. So we got 2.3 and 2.1. Okay, 2.1 again. So we're looking at just a hair over 2 pounds. And this is actually pretty darn accurate because I measured it using this Lyman gauge here, this digital gauge. And I'll show you here the reading I got. Let's reset this trigger. And all right, let's just try that. Okay, 2 pounds, 1.7. So that is pretty darn close to the 2 pounds and 1/8 that I saw here on this cheapo scale. So yes, I can say that you can measure your trigger pull using one of these cheap luggage scales, but it requires a lot of attention and vigilance to do it, because this just doesn't have a way to lock in the maximum weight quick enough for a trigger. So yeah, you can use it, and it is way cheaper. That $10 versus $50-$60 for this. So yeah, if you need to, yeah, I would say that you could theoretically and practically use this. But again, you have to be very vigilant, and that in and of itself could be prone to user error. So just bear that in mind. Of course, the best way to counteract that is to take multiple readings and just get an average, because your average is always going to yield a number closer to the actual number. So as we saw from our weight test, it was pretty darn consistent and accurate to the actual weight. Just a little bit off, but at least it was consistent. So if it's consistent, then you know how off it is, but as long as it's consistent, then you know that you can apply those numbers towards the readings you get from a device like this. So yeah, if you're interested in picking up one of these, I'll include links to the product, or at least a similar product that you can pick up in my blog, moondogindustries.com, and I'll include a link to that article in the video description. And if you use that link, of course, that helps support this channel. But if you want to support this channel in an absolutely free way, you can just simply hit the like and subscribe buttons, because you're taking control of the algorithm, the AI, and letting it know the kind of content you like to watch. And it benefits you because you'll start seeing more videos in the same subject matter and the same quality on your suggested video feeds, as opposed to, I don't know, K-pop videos, unless you're into BTS. But also it helps us out here on this channel, because it'll recommend this video to other folks like you. So win-win. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. You stay safe. Moondog out.
Hey, if you enjoyed this video, please share it on forums, Facebook, Reddit, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, MeWe, whatever social media you're on. And if you want to see all of my videos, check out moondogindustries.com.